Lijepi pozdrav svim slušateljima radija Eurostar. Dino je sa vama u studiju, mi se pridružila Vida Vojić. Sorry, how do you say, like, is it Vida Voyage?
That's correct, yeah.
Vida
I mean,
Voyage?
Vida Voyage is like a moniker that I use as a joke.
So Voyage or Voyage?
Like Voyage, like my name in Croatian. That, of course, you know how to say it probably better than me. But then Voyage, I started using it because I would introduce myself like Voyage to British people that they had read my name on whatever, the internet.
Voyage,
so they would say Vida Vojić. And I was like, no, it's Vidom Vojić. And then they're like, Voyage, that's so cool. And then I was like, that is kind of cool.
That really is kind of cool. And it fits with the music you make, actually.
It's true, yeah, completely.
It really does.
Yeah,
Stribor actually told me about you, and he said, okay, she'll come here.
Yes.
You'll do an interview. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, I have like an hour and a half to actually get ready to listen to some of your music to see what you're on about.
Yeah.
And he told me you have Istrian roots, right?
Yes, I do, yeah. I'm very, very happy about them.
Where from?
So, my dad moved to Istria when he was like 5. So he was born in 1953. So this is a long time ago. And I love the story because he was born in like Matuli, I think, outside of Rijeka. And then they traveled to Istria with a fucking... Well, I already sweared.
That's fine.
They moved here with a cow. Like the cow was like what do you call it? Like a caravan and a cow.
Okay, you know, that's a story.
Yeah, but then he lived in Bertonigla for most of his life, and then he also, like my grandmother, was actually like a school teacher in Momjan. So, and I think he's also lived somewhere else. But yeah, Bertonigla, I guess, is the main spot.
So family is still here, some of them?
Yes, I have a sister or 2 half-sisters, and one of them is here in Umag, and the other one now lives in Trieste. But yeah, they're local. Yeah.
Okay. And where do you live right now?
So I'm in Gothenburg, Sweden. And that's where I was born, and that's where I grew up. And I also have spent some time in Berlin and London these past years.
You do shows and stuff, or is it like school maybe?
I mean, I moved to Berlin when I was 19, and I think the main reason was just that I wanted to move there. I had been there for like a course when I was 16, like a German course. And then I was like, okay, this is a good spot. I'll move here once I finish school. So I moved to Berlin, and I think I did like this music production course for a year, but it was mainly just to kind of get into the city, integrate a little bit. And then I started making electronic music and was there for many years doing that. And then, of course, I traveled across Europe and played shows and stuff. And then one time we did a big tour in 2018, and that's when I first came to Ljubljana. Mm-hmm. So I have this strong like relationship with Ljubljana because we came to this space in Ljubljana called Cirkulacija 2, and they hosted our show on the tour, and then I could come back every year for like a residency project, and that's kind of how I first established the connection with Ljubljana. And I mean, there are like lots of tiny rivers that have kind of eventually led me back to Istria, which is amazing because I've been able to come here recently as an artist, not just as someone that is like reconnecting to my roots, but also doing the things that I love. And but then London, I went there to study. I was there for a year studying a master's in performance art. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what's been happening. Yeah. You
had a show in Momjan like 2 days ago, no?
Yes, I did.
How was that?
That was good. Yeah, it was in this tiny church on the hill above Momjan called Church of San Mauro. Gorgeous, gorgeous spot, like overlooking the sea. And this time around, I've traveled very lightweight, so normally I, would have my gear with me, maybe my guitar if I'm doing that project. And I've also done a lot with the drum kit recently. But these are like things you need to carry. They're heavy.
Of course, you can't really go to the beach with them.
No, exactly. Yeah. So I basically came up with this idea that I can do this this concert that is basically portable anywhere, because all you need is your voice and then some wine glasses. So I'm playing the glass harp.
Oh,
I was
that's
playing,
nice.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, it's like I'm not like a virtuoso on
of
this.
course,
I just need like a drone kind of in the ground of the song, and then I can harmonize with it. And you have that a lot because the concert that I did was like a dedication to Hildegard of Bingen, which is this medieval composer, and she's also many other things like a healer, a mystic, an artist, quite a rebellious figure at the time. She's doing a little bit of a comeback recently because she was canonized as a saint by the Pope in 2012. So now, like, she's kind of, very fashionable again, and people are researching her. And I'm one of those, I guess. So I was singing her music a lot this springtime and found it very cleansing, and also it's a good practice. And I don't know. It's interesting music because it's so old that it doesn't have the rhythm notation, so it's only
just the melody.
The melody, exactly, and it doesn't say which key it's in.
It depends on the room, yeah. Every key is different.
Totally. So you're very free to play with the music, actually, and so I found it a really good practice. And then I was like, well, I've been singing Hildegard like in my bedroom the whole springtime, and I'm now quite familiar with her life story also, and so I basically thought I'll do a small concert, which was also like a performance where I basically sang her music, played the glass harp, so the wine glasses, and also told her life story. And it was wonderful.
Nice.
And also read her poetry, because basically she would write the poetry in Latin at the time. It was all Latin, and then she would basically put melodies to the poetry. But I mean, everything that she's done is just incredible. Like, you can't believe it. Like, also the poetry is so magnificent. So I would read the poetry in Italian, but I'm not there yet with my Italian to like do the whole performance in Italian. But yeah, it was wonderful, and all the kind of local, like some local people from Momian came, and it was special because they knew my dad, they knew my grandmother even, and it was like instantly kind of.
How was that feeling? You it was so long time ago before like your family came here, and like so many years after you come back to do a show in San Mauro.
Yeah.
In Momian, and people know you. Is there warmth in there? Like warmth of people actually considering you one of their own, even though you're living in Gothenburg, right?
Yes, completely. I mean, the people would just have all these stories, and it's really something that warms your heart, because you hear about, in my case, my father, and you also get a picture of who he was before he moved to Sweden, and he had his whole life here, and you understand a lot more about him as a person when you see this culture that he's from, and he was a bit of a I don't know if it's just it's just the case with like smaller places perhaps that everyone in the same generation will know of each other, or they've met somehow at parties or in school or whatever. But he seems to have been a bit of a like, oh, of course, Damir, like, he was like a fun, very.
Those stories can be like scary in the time, like when the conversation starts, like, okay, wait, where are we heading with this? Let's stop for a minute.
Yeah. But usually it's like there was this guy there who was, I think, the same age as my dad, and when he realized I was his daughter, he would tell me that like they played and they had like at the time it was like in the winter, and so the house where I was staying now in Momian was the House of Castles in Momian.
Okay.
And this is what the building is now. It's like a small museum. But before that, it was apparently the post office in Momian, and they had it was like it's down this hill. And so when it was like winter and it was snowing a lot, this dude that I met who had been playing with my dad, they had like made this like huge snowball that they basically roll down the hill, and then they placed it in.
Hope you don't kill anyone.
Well, yeah, they placed it in front of the entrance to the post office so that the people like couldn't get in or couldn't get out or something. He told me the story in Italian, so I was like, oh my god, yeah. But yeah, like just fun little glimpses of him, and.
It's a little bit pieces of puzzles,
Completely.
Just to get you can't get a full picture, but at least a bit more.
Completely.
Just a bit more.
Yeah, and it's so, it's beautiful, and it's so quick also to reconnect. It's not like I'm having to like run around and like who was he? It's not like a mystery. It's like he's known here. And so, yeah, it's been completely amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, nice to hear. Dragi slušatelji, napravit ćemo jednu kratku pauzu, slušat ćemo jednu stvar od Vidom Vojić i čujemo se uskoro. Nakon pauze vraćamo se intervju. You call yourself, let's call it like that, Alchemical Drummer.
Yes.
Alchemical Drummer, and you're a bit in ambient rock. And ambient rock is known to me. Like I can place my ears in it. I know what it should sound like in a way. I know the strings that it pulls. But what is Alchemical Drummer? That's my question.
That is such a good question.
I've got zero idea about it. And I went to Google it. Like, is it like a genre?
I don't even
drummers?
know. I never even Googled it. What did you find?
I found nothing. That's the thing. I couldn't wait for you to come here because I have no idea what it is. Is it your term?
It. Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, oh God, this is such a brilliant question. I'm really happy you asked it. I hope I'll be able to answer it. But let's say, drumming is one thing, of course. And I've been in music for a long time, like all my life pretty much. But then recent years, I went more into like, let's say, performance art and art in general. And then that led me to kind of think about music in a more kind of zoomed out way. What is it actually for humans? Why do we do it? And like, what does it mean conceptually? And when I started playing the drums, that's when I lived in London and did the performance art degree there. And I came to the drums as a performance practice. And of course, when you're in university, you also have to research. And so it led me to like question, like, what does the drum mean for the human? And, it's this kind of ancient origins of like, why do we do what we do? And I find also that, at that time I was able to look at the drum kit as a bit of a sculpture, because I didn't come to it because I was like, I want to, play the drums like a musician, but rather like, what does it mean when you put it on stage and you look at it and you put the lights on it in a certain way? And so what does that represent, Because the thing that I've done a lot is this solo drumming where I speak and sing and then just play the drums. So that's kind of the performance art thing. And even just looking at the shape of the drum kit being a circular thing, and then you have like the drumstick, which then I thought like these are the binary numbers. It's the 0 and the 1, and that is like the sort of foundational principle for like existence in many traditions, because you have the 0 being pure space, and then the 1 that goes into it and then creates the line. So you have circular time or cyclical time, and then you have linear time. And if you put those two together, you get something like a spiral. And as I start speaking about these kinds of terms and things, this is actually like kind of magical principles, So that's also then what brings us closer to the idea of alchemy, which obviously chemistry we all know, but alchemy would be the chemistry of God, which is al, like Allah. So alchemy is basically a process of the divine chemistry that creates the universe and all the, the matter and the spirit coming together, or, they would even think about it in terms of the planets and all the stuff that creates the universe, let's say. And then you have things like different, crystals relating to different planets and all these things that in the end, I don't know that much about it, but I understand that it's about transformation, and it's about like a holy kind of combination of the perfect, let's say, formula or spell that will then, have an effect and transform us, or so that's also what you do when you, like in magic, you would do spells or whatever. And if you think about it, this is nothing new. Like in a way, a song could be a spell. It's something that the chemical process that happens within you when you listen to that song, it might transform you. You might have a release of emotions, or you might have an epiphany and like, oh, now I know what to do. Like art and music, it's magic in a way because it has an effect, but it's an effect that isn't necessarily material or even explicable, something that you might not be able to explain in words. So then we come closer to something that is maybe divine, and that it's the great unknown, And so with those like performance rituals, let's say, that I did with the drumming, it is a process of, or it's meant to kind of take the audience on a journey of transformation. It starts in one end and it ends somewhere completely different. And this thing of also holding steady like 30 minutes from beginning to end, and like this unceasing beat that, will bring you, like it's like being on a highway, you're going somewhere. And something is triggered in people, and I don't really know what it is, but it has an intense, impact. And that's also the holy moment where you're not supposed to explain that. I mean, I'm trying now, but like, I'm also wanting to pay respect to the fact that things are unknown, and this is the magical thing with music and art. And yeah, I think also that my more like, I mean, recently I made a new piece now when I was in Ljubljana right before coming here. But there's one piece, the one that I did when I was still in London, that I've played a lot. I actually performed it in Boje at the theater in Boje in January when I did my big Europe tour, and then it was for the high school kids there. It was really cool. But this piece is called Timing is Divine, and it's I always explain it like it has the dramaturgy of like a yoga set, you know? So it's like it starts warming up, and then it comes to a part that is quite physical and active, and like you kind of exhaust yourself. Like I exhaust my body, and then it goes into like the second half is very kind of meditative. And it's also because if you've exhausted the body, then, you know, your mind will be more flowy and open, perhaps, you know. That's why in yoga they do the meditation at the end, you know. So yeah, I guess I'm incorporating all these different principles into this alchemical drumming.
You actually answered my question, yeah. So that's
okay, cool.
Yeah, that was what I was looking for in a way, because I haven't heard for like at all, and I know what alchemy is. Have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons?
No, I haven't.
You know what it is?
It's a computer game.
It's actually a board game. Like Dungeons and Dragons is the one that started it all, like all fantasy genres.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, it's.
I should know it. It's a very famous name.
I mean, you shouldn't, but if you did, I think you would like it. Like everything you said now. Yeah. About divines and magic and, you know, alchemy and stuff like that. Everything happens there, and you can actually be a bard that controls the sound. I mean, either to kill people, other people, or monsters, or stuff like that. It has a connection with it, because now I don't see you as an artist who wants to make a song that will come on the radio. I actually see you as a artist that just wants to create, that just wants to be a part of this world, and that's how I view. And I can see you as being a Dungeons and Dragons character in a way.
Interesting. Yeah, I should try it.
That's how I like, let's say, connected it in a way. And my next question was about drumming, because every drummer has its style, like what it means to him to have those sticks in hands and to actually play it, and what does it feel. Now you answered that already, also in a way, but if you could, like, just on the playing part, not just what it means, but just the playing. Yeah. How do you view it? Like, what is drumming for you? Let's say for me, it's a backbone of a song. Without drums, you can have a song, but with drums, those drums have to be ultra tight. Like, they have to mean something to actually have a song, and then Come Together from Beatles. The drums are perfect for it.
They're amazing.
But they're so slow. They're so...
They're very sensual in a way. Like, yeah.
They're there for the song, not for the drums. So how do you view it as a drummer?
That actually just, made me think about that song, how brilliant it is, because it's really musical, the way he plays. And it's so, it's not too much, right? So
it's a perfect amount.
It's completely,
in a way.
It's right. Love that, yeah.
And anybody can, first thing you learn as a drummer, you learn, it's so easy, you know, it's simple, but it fits.
Oh my God, but the simplicity, I wish more drummers would, worship simplicity in a way. Because it's, I mean, not to talk like that, but I think it's an interesting time for drumming also because of like electronic beats having been introduced and stuff. So in a way, like what Ringo Starr does in that recording is very creative in that he doesn't see himself as someone who's solely just like holding everything tight, but it's more like that was prior to electronic music. But I think a lot about how, obviously music has a structure that people who study music will know, the theory, etc. And then you've had this like electronic beats and way of making music that has been introduced in the last decades, and this has created this thing that we're not dependent on the drummer necessarily to hold the beat anymore. But now I feel like we've pushed ourselves through the portal of the electronic music. So if a drummer then comes out on the other side and still plays the drums and isn't just relying on like these syncopated drum beats from a drum machine, then what does it mean then? Because we all know where the 1 is, and then the 2 and the 3. Like, so we can know that they're there, but we don't have to accentuate them. We can choose instead to accentuate as long as we remain in the beat, right? But okay, so about your question, how I feel towards drumming. Like you said, it's a very, very powerful instrument because it will cut through, right? And I actually never I did play the drums in a band when I was in London, but I'm not, I don't really dream of being the drummer of a band because I really, really respect the amount of responsibility that the drummer holds. And like, for me, I've just been playing it solo, and I guess I came to it in a way. It was partly like a choice within the performance art context that I was like, drums are perfect because we live in an age of, over stimuli, but also this stimulation that comes from the screens. And so we don't really feel that stuff through, like in the body. We don't get enough expression out. I feel like there's just a lot of kind of mindless taking in of stuff that we really don't need and doesn't mean anything to us.
90% of it we don't need.
Exactly. So I guess for me it was a way to come back to the body. Like, let's say I had done yoga through the pandemic, to keep moving, and that was a wonderful experience. But once I moved to London, the pandemic was sort of slowly disappearing, and I found myself in this gigantic city and all these like machine rhythms around me from the traffic and like people talking loud and whatever. It was loud. So in a way, for me, I had this feeling like I don't want to lose connection to my body again, because maybe during the pandemic where everything went quiet and I had this time to really be in my body and do the yoga, I had really come so close to this feeling of being properly integrated, like body and soul, let's say. And I was like, I want to maintain that. And so I changed my practice a lot at that time. And I was like, maybe I can have an artistic practice that is actually good for me or healthy for me in a way. And so the drums became like a way to kind of have a body movement practice that is also an artistic expression and something that makes sure that I don't fall asleep. Like a lot of us might say that it's kind of a sleepwalking age because just exist without actually. But I understand what you want to say. Like when you're playing the drums, you're actually creating something with your body, and yes,
your body needs to know exactly what your brain wants.
You need to be present.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be there 100%.
Completely. And then also in terms of performances, I've seen a lot of people go to shows and they're still there with their phone, or like there's a restlessness. Like oftentimes if I go to like an exhibition, I sometimes know that the art on the walls is maybe even brilliant and I can see it, but I don't have the patience to look at it, because I'm restless. So with the drums, it forces the action of listening onto the audience, and they can actually come in quite passively into the room, but they cannot escape this performance. They have
it's
to
loud.
leave.
Yeah.
It's loud. It's like, look here, look here, look here, and the beat penetrates the body and it kind of wakes us up. So it's a way to make people listen not just with their mind but also with their whole body. Like they will feel present, and then at the same time, I love to perform in spaces that, I like to perform wherever I can, but also I try to target the performances to interesting spaces. So I'm not so interested in music venues, but rather, like for this performance, but rather like, if I can get like an old ruin or like an old abandoned factory or like a church or something that will have a big resonance, it will also amplify the space that I'm in, and so the sound will automatically, become something that is conversing with the space, and so it also highlights the space, and people feel the sense of like both their body in space. It's quite simple, but it's like once again the binary number of like you have space and you have the the material and you have the body and the soul and the space and time, the body and soul, like, you know, all these things kind of, they exist in the drums for me, so.
Dragi slušatelji, još jedna kratka pauza uz još jednu stvar od Vide i čujemo se uskoro. Dobrodošli nazad, nastavljamo s intervjuom. I listened to some of your demos, demo recordings, the Edges of Night.
Yes.
Edges of Night, actually. Yeah. In the demos, there's already a lot of reverb, a lot of space, a lot of length, in a way, of tones.
Sustain,
do you record them yourself, or is there like a more more
super
production to
DIY.
it.
No.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And do you put it like in a microphone or does it go to the audio interface?
I mean, that album that you listen to is probably different methods, actually. Some of them are straight up live recordings from gigs that have just gone through the mixer. And then some of them are maybe like I record the guitar on its own. I think one of them even, I recorded the guitar with my phone and then, you know, added the vocals and so then maybe some flutes and... Yeah, I mean, because I come from this like electronic music production, working in Ableton and stuff like years ago, so I have that knowledge. But yeah, like it's different things. But it's true, it's very reverby. Like that's kind of
really,
been my sound.
And it fits everything I said about, let's say, D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. It fits the theme. It fits the ancient stuff. It fits the magic. It fits. Let's say the scene of everything you do, actually. So that reverb kind of gives life to drums also.
Yes,
yeah, drums don't really like reverb in the music I listen to, but if they're just drums and you actually know how to dial it in, it really flows. Have you tried sound therapy, like with the bowls?
I've been to a gong bath. That's a form of sound therapy.
That's one of
really
I tried it recently and I really loved it. And now when you talk about it, it fits. You know, the vibrations that actually travel through the body. It fits. Completely. It fits everything. The story.
You start feeling that your body is made of water, right?
Exactly.
And you feel different kind of parts of your body waking up in these sessions. It's really it's crazy. And so relaxing also. I think, you know, reconnecting to the body is like, it's kind of the biggest joy when you're in that and you can really live that. I feel...
Most people maybe don't even realize it when they go through it.
That
might be the thing also. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, what is your go-to, let's say, start of creative process? Everybody has one. Like, how do you start?
That's a good question as well. Oh my God. Okay. I guess that's not so clear. Like in a way, I feel like I'm quite dynamic, or like I need to change constantly in order to stay like inspired and excited. I do travel a lot. I feel like that is a source of inspiration. And then at the same time, certain things are hard to kind of keep going with once you're on the road. So I also need periods of just being really kind of settled in one place. But I would say that I think I realized this summer, and probably in the past as well, but was just confirmed again this summer, that I do need emptiness, like big time. Like going on a long hike is probably the best thing. And it, at the end of the day, I think that's something that every person needs. So it's not necessarily that like, a special thing for artists or whatever. But yeah, that's a huge thing. I think that's also something that, people might not maybe think about when they think about artists. But it's like you need space, and I think even though I'm traveling and meeting people a lot, and I'm quite solitary, and I think that's I like that, and I think that's a huge thing. But yeah, of course, I like to also bombard myself with input from other artists sometimes, or I've been thinking a lot about the importance of having an audience or a context or community around you. That's also really important. So I think, maybe I will say, just for the sake of this context, that I do also feel very inspired by the thing of connecting to different communities in different cultures. This is like, it sounds very kind of simple, but it's something that I really... It's like it's nature for me. It's something, and I think it's also the nature of having grown up with a father who was foreign, and he was quite proudly foreign. Like he my whole childhood, he reminded me constantly that there's another world, and it's very different, and it's really not like Sweden. Yeah. This is something I'm very happy about. That it's
We have like 3 more minutes, even less. Yeah, we have like half an hour of conversation already.
Wow.
Yeah, and I have to finish the job.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions that I couldn't get to because we don't have time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good. It's really good. Let's say I have one last question. I have more, but we don't have time. since you started making music, since you started like getting all of the music inputs in and performing and stuff like that, if you had to single out one moment, like one favorite moment, what would it be?
What I would sing, or what's
no,
the moment?
What happened? What actually, like something that was in the past that you said, "Wow, what?"
Oh.
And one favorite, like one thing that actually got you. Okay, I'll continue doing this.
I think there have been, of course, many moments, but I did feel that after the tour in January, I felt like somehow, you know, it was like the universe was just. It was also so easy, the whole process of booking. Things just were always like right on the edge of not working out, and then they all just magically worked out. And I think every show of that tour was just mind-blowing for myself, you know. And also there was this feeling of like, I made this happen, but also everyone that helped me make it happen. There was this sense of support from everyone that, you know, booked me or hosted me, and it was quite a wild and weird tour, and I played in many strange places, like for example here in Koper I played in Skladiše Libertas,
okay, yeah,
which is like, so I played in these like magnificent spaces, and you know, it was January also, so it was like freezing everywhere, but people were like, yeah, we're gonna make this happen. And yeah, I don't know, I was so filled with love from people, and yeah, and then also the performance seems to be something that, I mean, I like doing it, and people are really into it. So yeah, that definitely confirmed that I'm doing something right, I guess. Yeah.
Vida, thank you so much.
Hey, thank
I would like
you.
to have one more conversation sometimes.
Yes,
when you
I'll be
get
back.
When you get back, yeah, we have to do it. Dragi slušatelji, s nama je bila Vida Vojić, njenu glazbu možete slušati online, možete pročitati o njenom projektu više, a to će biti to ukratko. Budite dobri, aj bok.